I had to. I had to know what it felt like, so I knew what never to do again. It's, you know, I'm not lucky to be alive. I'm lucky I get to exist. I know the hope is there. Even if I can't see it in that moment, I know it exists, and so I keep moving forward because I'm going to get to it.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University. It's down here to the left today. Today we have a very special guest. He is a storyteller at heart. He is a best-selling author, global public speaker, and award-winning documentary filmmaker, the one and only Kevin Hines. Kevin, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, how are you? It's a good mental health day, a good brain health day, so I'm in a good mood.
We like to hear that. Kev, obviously you have one incredible story, and we don't often go deep into story because we have a half hour and we want to draw as much value out as humanly possible from our amazing guests. But I feel like your story is something that is just a huge part of who you are, why you do what you do, and it really connects to what is possible for a human being, and that's something you're trying to help people with. So can you walk us through your story and how you got to the Kevin Hines that you are today?
Wow. Yes, I can and I will. I was born in severe poverty. I was born to biological parents who, after they had me, succumbed to drugs and alcohol because of their diagnosis of manic depression, what we today call bipolar disorder, the very same brain disease I would develop at 17 and a half years of age. 2 years prior to attempting to take my life in a way that is 99% fatal. And being born to my birth parents, they couldn't take care of me and my brother. We were 10 months apart. He was older. And they couldn't take care of me because they were so unwell themselves. And they ended up leaving me and my brother unattended on a regular basis to go do, score, or sell drugs. That was our lives. You know, we were really struggling as a family, living in places, crack motels, the kind of places with concrete slab floors, the places you pay for by the hour, and if you don't, you're out. And my birth parents did whatever they had to do to pay on that hour by that hour, however illegal, which led to police barreling down the door and taking us into protective custody. And we bounced around from home to home in foster care with one very simple idea that me and my brother would be adopted together. But that's not what happened. We both got bronchitis and he died. I immediately developed a severe detachment disorder from reality and abandonment issues that follow me until today. I always say that every time somebody in my life dies, I feel like they're leaving me on purpose and I can't shake it no matter how much therapy I do. And I do a lot of therapy. But unlike my poor brother, I got very lucky. I landed in the home of Peter and Deborah Muller, my first good foster home. And one day in walked Deborah Joan Hines. And you know my last name, so this works out, you know. Debbie walks in, and she and Pat Hines decide to take me at 9 months of age and make me their son. And they are my mom and dad. And from that point, you know, there was the 31st days of being in the Hines home where I was very sick physically because my birth parents, had been feeding me what they could steal. My first diet consisted of Kool-Aid, Coca-Cola, and sour milk. I had a distended belly filled with liquid and a bruise from the top of my sternum to the bottom of my abdomen from being malnourished for so long. And what we know about gut to brain health today, we know that I was severely affecting my brain's well-being, and my mental health was taxed from infancy, really. But Pat and Debbie got me healthy, and they made me their son. And growing up in that household, I thought nothing can go sideways from here. I'm going to get into that great school. I'll get that great job. I'll be successful because I've been given what so many in America don't have: opportunity. And then at 17 and a half, everything fell apart. I developed the same brain disease my birth parents had in bipolar. I had a complete mental breakdown in front of 1,200 people. Went to see my first psychiatrist. was put on medications I was haphazardly taking one day and not the next, 7 days and not for 7 days, or while binge drinking until blackout on the weekends, which could have killed me. I wasn't even trying to get high or feel a buzz. I was trying to stop the voices in my head, the auditory hallucinations that turned to visual hallucinations that were absolutely terrifying. And at 19, I could not bear the weight and the brunt of this pain any longer. I couldn't see a way out. I only saw, felt, heard, touched, and knew pain. And I call it lethal emotional pain. And I think that's the common denominator, really, of how and why we lose people to suicide all around the world. I mean, today, post-COVID, or during COVID, we know that more 5 to 9-year-old Black children are dying by suicide than ever before. I'm part Black. That affects me in a big way. That breaks my heart. More 4 to 10-year-old children of all races are dying by suicide than ever before. How does a 4-year-old know how to take their life? And so when you go back to my story in that day, that fateful day that I went to the Golden Gate Bridge to attempt to die, what led me there and why did I live? Well, what led me there were voices in my head telling me I had to die, telling me I had no other choice. And I believe I lived by the grace of God. I have faith in God. I'm not pushing that on anybody. I want people to have faith in themselves, faith in the human condition, faith in their ability to survive any pain that comes their way, which I didn't have back when I went to the Golden Gate Bridge, but I do today. And I want to take that lesson and teach people that they don't have to learn the hard way like I did. Instead of learning the hard way like I did by attempting or dying, they can turn to the person closest to them and say 4 simple but very effective words. I need help now. I live with chronic thoughts of ending my life, you guys. But I've never again attempted to take it. Because every single time I'm suicidal today, I turn to those who love me or anyone willing to listen, wherever I am, and I say, I need help now. It's my shorthand. And for the people that don't know me, they go, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I say, I'm suicidal. I need you to get me to a safe place. And maybe it's not the first, second, or third person that I say that to that's willing or able to get me to help I need. But by the sheer probability of the number of people I ask, someone has always been willing to empathize with my pain, and a pain shared is a pain halved. And so here I am today, thriving, alive and well, often struggling, never recovered, but in recovery. And I'm okay with that. I'm putting in the hard work every day to stabilize. And I feel that my life's purpose is to share my story, to try to help anyone in pain survive every time.
It's so powerful, Kevin, and I can't claim to know, and Alan can't claim to know, I'm sure, the depths of that pain or whatever it may be. It's not about comparing, but what was normal, quote unquote, for you back then versus now? Because obviously, and this is something I'm learning in this moment, I didn't know that this is like a chronic thing. I didn't know that that's something that you're continuing to deal with. So what was normal 10, 15, 20 years ago versus what's normal now, and how did you shift that?
Yeah. So let's say 20, I'm 40. So 20, 30 years ago, right? I was a happy-go-lucky kid, playing all the sports, in shape, exercising every day, doing extracurricular activities, part of the drama club. I was busy and I love life, and I was passionate about everything I engaged in, except for the swim team. I failed at the swim team, but anyway. And I got kicked off of speech and debate, funnily enough. But besides that, I was engaged. I was entertaining even. I would laugh with all my friends. There was no real mental health crisis. And then at 17, it was like my brain broke. And this journey of being in recovery every day, like one would be in recovery from substance use disorder, has been a wild ride to say the least. Ups and downs, manias and depressions. and many psych ward stays, 10 psych ward stays in the last 14 years up till 2019 pre-pandemic. My norm today is struggling on a regular basis to find hope. Mm-hmm. The difference today than when I jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge is that I know the hope is there. Even if I can't see it in that moment, I know it exists. And so I keep moving forward because I'm going to get to it. That's the difference, is that I know that I will survive because even in the greatest level of pain that I have, I believe in myself. And whereas I used to look in the mirror and self-loathe every day, now I self-love every day. Mm. I use the term recite, repeat, and believe. What's every major faith ever been built upon? Reciting a prayer, repeating a prayer, believing said prayer. If we recite and repeat negative things about ourselves in the mirror or otherwise, we're going to believe them. Consequently, if we recite and repeat positive things about ourselves, the opposite, over time we retrain our brain, which is malleable, the most malleable organ we have. We will believe that we are beautiful, well-intentioned, supposed to be here, and important, and meant for this world. And that's really the message I try to spread to people.
Super powerful. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. So, Kevin, in my research, I caught wind of something, but the clip that I watched was kind of cut off, and it was one of those ones with amazing music in the background and some verbiage coming through. But I thought that I caught a piece that said that a sea lion had saved you. Can you please, I was very intrigued by that. Can you please take us through what happened and what that meant to you, more importantly?
Absolutely. So when I hit the water and went down 70 feet and then resurfaced from a 250-foot drop, 25 stories in 4 seconds, I prayed to God to save me. I said, God, please save me. I don't want to die. I made a mistake on repeat. And I always say he heard me, because at that moment, something began to circle beneath me. And I freaked out. I thought it was a shark. Freaking out. I'm literally punching this thing so it doesn't bite me, because I think it's going to eat me. But it doesn't bite me, and it doesn't go away after I punch it. It just circles faster and faster, faster and faster. No longer am I wading in the water to stay afloat. I'm lying atop it on my back, being kept buoyant by this creature. Thinking to myself, this is the nicest shark I've ever met. And it turned out I said this on a television program a year later on ABC News. I said I thought there was a shark beneath me. And when the video went viral online, when they dumped it on the web, people from all over the world wrote in to the show. And one man's letter stuck out above all the rest. His name was Morgan. He was from Las Vegas, Nevada, and he was on the bridge that day with his mom. And he wrote it, and he said, Kevin, I'm so very glad you're alive. I was standing less than 2 feet away from you when you jumped. Till this day, watching this show, no one would tell me whether you lived or died. It's haunted me until now. By the way, there was no shark, like you mentioned you thought there was on the show, but there was, in fact, a sea lion. And the people above looking down believed it to be keeping your body afloat until the Coast Guard boat arrived behind you. Now call that what you want. That's my miracle. And I'll always believe.
Hi everyone, my name is Amy. I am part of the NLU team, and I just want to talk quickly about my experience at Your World Within Live and Top Notch Live. There are 2 events that Alan and Kevin both co-hosted. I remember being so nervous going to each one of them because I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure what was going to be happening or the people that I was going to meet. But I remember coming away from both of them with a sense of accomplishing something that I didn't think that I was going to accomplish. I was able to go outside of my comfort zone, talk to people that I wouldn't normally talk to, and do a testimonial, which was so nerve-wracking during those 2 times. But I'm super excited for this event because it's going to be incredible. We have incredible speakers, and I'm excited for you to learn more about yourself and for you to get outside your comfort zone.
And it wasn't just that miraculous thing that happened. There were so many things that day that changed everything. A woman driving by in a red car at the very moment I went over the rail saw me go over and called her friend from her car phone, not cell phone, car phone, in the year 2000 in the United States Coast Guard. The singular reason the Coast Guard boat arrived at my position in the water before I was to set in hypothermia and drown was because of that woman's phone call. Before the Coast Guard boat arrives, the Sea Lion keeps me afloat. Sea Lion takes off when the Coast Guard boat arrives. The officers are part of saving my life. They pull me onto a flatboard, put me in a neck brace, and start asking questions. Kid, do you know what you just did? I'm like, yeah, I was there. They said, son, do you understand how many people we pull out of these waters that are already gone? I said, no, and I don't want to know. They said, we're going to tell you anyway. I said, young man, this unit alone, this year alone, has pulled out 26 dead bodies from these waters. And only one live one. You. That gave me the greatest point of perspective I have ever received. And in that boat, I made a cognitive decision that no matter the pain I would be in for the rest of my life, I'll never again attempt to take it. So long as I shall live, I'll die of natural causes at the ripe old age of 112. You know? And then it was off to the hospital. I was having a violent asthma attack in the ambulance. They couldn't give me my asthma meds because they didn't know if my lungs had been impacted. Often when people hit the water, the bones in their legs shoot through their rib cage into their organs, or their ribs crush into their organs and pierce their organs. There are tens of ways to die off the Golden Gate Bridge. They're mostly slow and violent, and people don't know that. They think you die on impact. It's not true. Well, they get me to the hospital, and I'm in a bracing structure, and they have to go in and they have to do a 10.5-hour back surgery to replace my shattered vertebrae with titanium. I had shattered 3 vertebrae and missed severing my spinal cord by 2 millimeters. They went in, they replaced my vertebrae. They sutured me up, 23 staple scar across my left side. I'll never forget how many staples, because after they took out the second set of staples when it was healing, I said, stop, that hurts. I said, I'll do it myself. I said, give me that thing. And I took the staple remover and I removed 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 23. I had to know what it felt like, so I knew what never to do again. It's, I'm not lucky to be alive. I'm lucky I get to exist. And I'm grateful today for every millisecond I get to walk this earth, everything I get to do because it almost didn't happen. But most importantly, I am grateful as I live in the present to meet both of you. This is my gift today. And every day I live like that. Every day I look around at what I've been given, this second chance at life. And I appreciate it no matter the pain I'm in. Gratitude and resilience are the 2 most protective factors from suicide. If you can hold gratitude inside your pain, you can survive it. If you can learn to be resilient, you can never die by suicide. Far too many of our children today are being raised by their devices, their mobile devices. They're being given mobile devices way too young. It's warping their brains, and they are so uber focused on it, they can't focus on anything else, and they can find anything in the world they want to watch on those devices. And some of those media pieces are dangerous, damaging, and hateful and hurtful. That's why my wife and I founded 17th Montgomery Productions, to create media that has the opposite effect, media that changes lives for the better. And that's where we're at. We're trying to create documentaries, docuseries, short form media that changes lives.
Kev, what is your definition of resilience? Because I think the layer 1 of resilience, I would say you are the most resilient, maybe the most resilient person I've ever met in terms of your upbringing and what you've gone through and the environment, all that. But obviously, there's a different level of resilience that allows you to thrive through that versus succumbing to that. So what is your definition of resilience, and how have you and how can others continue to get their resilience to another level through practice?
Well, I would say my definition of resilience is to never give in to pain. I'll explain it I'll give you a prime example. 2.5 years ago, and you can see right now my hands are red, my face is red. I deal with a skin disease on a regular basis. But 2.5 years ago, for the first time ever, this popped up, and it caused me to have bloody blisters from head to toe, from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head, across my entire body. And it felt like knives and needles were coming from my bones through my skin everywhere. I never wanted to die when I jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. I believed I had to. But when I had these burns on my skin and this pain in my body, and I became anemic, I wanted to take my life every day, every moment of every day. The pain lasted for 38 weeks, 24 hours a day. It was unrelenting and unparalleled. I wanted to die every day, but I didn't. I fought the pain, in spite of the pain, despite of the pain, to thrive with both of you here today. I learned something about pain. And here's more of the definition of resilience. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is an option. It's optional. People judge me when I say that, but listen. Pain is coming for all of us if it hasn't already, but suffering is optional. It's a choice. Every clinician I ever had, besides the ones I have today, told me I was suffering from mental illness, suffering from depression, suffering from bipolar disorder, and suffering from an eating disorder when I was wrestling. Suffering, 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 suffering. I adopted that narrative as my own, and I became a sufferer. But then I realized that only made me the victim of my own story. When I brought myself out of that suffering, I said that I have lived 20 years past the day I should have died. I've been given a second chance at life. I may have been born into crack motels, but I've never suffered a day in it. I've been given a second chance. So to be resilient is to fight no matter how much it hurts, and to defeat your pain. You can do one of two things with pain. You can let it defeat you, or you can let it build you brick by brick from the ground up. And some of the greatest stories ever told in the world are by people who have survived insurmountable pain, emotional, mental, or otherwise. And I can tell you clearly that I will never die by suicide, no matter how often I think about it, because I know how to survive my pain. It's something I taught myself. Nobody taught this to me. When I asked my father if he still fears my death by suicide, we were filming the film Suicide: The Ripple Effect, and he goes, "Turn off the camera." And he goes, "Kevin, every time the phone rings," he didn't say when I call him. When the phone goes off in his pocket, whoever is calling him, his first and every thought is Kevin alive, for 21 years. And I take responsibility for that. So today, every time my father calls me and says, "Kevin, are you suicidal?" I'm going to tell him the truth. I'm also going to tell him that I'll survive and that I'll be okay. It's a journey. I'm still on it, but I know what I know, and I know how to fight pain. And I know how to teach other people to do the same. I'll just wrap this up real quick because I want to tell you a quick story. Yesterday, I got a message on YouTube, my YouTube channel, from a guy, and truth be told, I didn't remember this story until he wrote it. But he wrote it, he said, "Kevin, you met me at a Starbucks 2 years ago. I was the homeless guy with all of my belongings in my backpack. I had given up on life because my daughter had just died in a car crash. I had a job, I was doing well, but I gave up on everything and became homeless. destitute with no options. He said, you bought me every bit of food I could fit in my bag. You gave me all of your merch to sell so I could make a few bucks. And it put me on a path to getting back to my life. And some months later, I got a job. I slept behind a car wash in the dirt until I could afford to pay for my own apartment. And he goes, now I live in my own apartment and I'm a manager at a new position at this location. And he said, I didn't think life was worth living past that day. And then I met you. I get those stories all the time from around the world. I didn't do that. That man put in the work and saved his own life. I was just a conduit.
So powerful.
One of the
So
best
powerful.
episodes. Yeah, really appreciate this so much.
Just FYI, Alan, we're at the half. Just FYI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it goes quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had several other questions.
Of
but
course.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, Kev.
No,
Kev,
it's okay.
I think that you telling your story is probably more impactful than anything I could ask you to explain to us, because I think that there's that level of, even in that last point, the level of humility of you're doing the work that you believe you should be doing because of what has happened. It's truly tremendous. And I know Alan's probably mirroring the same feeling. All the love for you and what you're doing, and in any way, shape, or form we can help you out, please, please, please do not ever hesitate to reach out. Talk a little bit about what else you have going on. I want to make sure that people can find you, and then we'll let you go.
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to do that. So if you go to youtube.com/Kevin Hines, there are 540 videos and counting, all designed to better your brain health and your mental well-being. And we curate these videos and create them to be science-backed and evidence-informed, proven to change lives. People watch these videos, they write and they say, this video or that video saved my life. We want these videos to affect you in a positive way. Join the team, join the family. It's called Hope Nation. We want you to be there. I started the Hinesights Podcast, which is not as sophisticated as your guys' podcast. We're trying to up our game a little bit. And my wife and I do that often together. She's on the behind the scenes part of it, but we run that podcast. Please check that out. Some amazing interviews with people from around the world who have triumphed over incredible adversity. And we have a mental health hack that comes out every Friday, an Ask Kev that comes out every Thursday, and an interview with someone that comes out every Saturday. So we have 3 episodes a week. And join that podcast, join the team, and be a part of the family. We want to spread media that changes lives. That's our goal. And that's what we've been doing for years. Suicide, The Ripple Effect, the film, is now available on Vimeo on demand. So check that out. It's a film that's been seen by 2 million people in 20 plus countries, and 500 people have said it saved their life. Let it help you. Thank you, guys.
I thought we were doing a lot, Kev. I thought we were doing a lot. 7 episodes a week. You're catching up, brother. You're catching up. Next Level Nation, follow this gentleman. Again, we've had a lot of amazing people on here, but that story, that humility, that level of perseverance, that level of resilience, it's truly amazing. And Kev, you have an ally in the mission for sure. We are very, very grateful. Thank you so very much for joining us today. I know Alan will mirror my thoughts as well.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate it. Strong stories, and got me in my feels. I almost cried there several times. But I think the most important piece is what you came from and what you built from that. I think it gives other people hope for what they can build over the long term through, like you said, resilience. And I love, by the way, hindsight, like that being your last name and the podcast. Like, That's very, very cool. I like that pun. So I just wanted to say that as well.
And also, shout out to Kev. Shout out to the debate team. They missed out. You know what I mean? They missed out, Kev.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kev.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.